Hello and welcome to Dad Got This, where we answer the tough questions like, can you cook a dinosaur on the Ninja Woodfire grill? And speaking of dinosaurs, how does a dinosaur cut wood? That's easy with a dino saw. This episode is brought to you by RSVLTS, my clothing brand sponsor, the people who give me all my super cool shirts. This shirt, this dinosaur shirt, came from them, and it is awesome. It is a dinosaur playing basketball. What else could you want? This is the next recipe in my series of recipe based off of a shirt from the company RSVLTS. This one is all about dino ribs or beef ribs. Sourcing one of these big bad boy beef ribs might be a little hard. I had to go to a specialty grocer to get mine. You might find them in little chunks, little like 2-inch chunks, or they're very common as Korean barbecue style, which was where they slice them thin. That's kalbi. But I wanted the big, thick rack of ribs, so I went to a specialty grocer and I found it. Now, this is a little over a 5-pound rack of beef ribs. Not too much cleanup needed on beef ribs. We gotta pat them dry, get that stuff out of the cryovac off of there. What you're looking for is you're looking for stuff like this. This is silver skin. We don't want that, so we're just gonna cut that off. Other than that, I'm gonna try and leave as much of this fat as possible because, well, fat is flavor. So I'm just gonna try to kind of get under this little bit of silver skin right here and take it off without taking much meat. You wanna have a sharp knife to do this. You wanna have a sharp knife, period. Sharp knives are safe knives. These ones were not the meatiest of ribs, but it was what I could get. So I went with it. Now there is some silver skin underneath this fat cap. I don't want to get rid of it, so I'm just gonna kind of score it a little bit. Should help break it up a little bit during the cooking process. All right. As far as the membrane on the back, you kind of want to leave that. So we're just going to do a couple scores back here also. When you're looking to buy your big beef ribs, look for the 3-bone racks. Apparently those are the ones you want to do this style cook. That's it for trimming. Beef ribs are very similar to a brisket in flavor profile. So since I do a lot of briskets with just the salt, pepper, garlic, you know, my specialty rub that I'm working on, this one I'm gonna do with a different rub. And I'm actually gonna use a binder. I normally don't even use binders, but let's do something different. Yellow mustard, which I got on my pants. That's gonna make a stain.
That's what she said.
And we're just gonna slather this guy up with some yellow mustard. I don't use binders that often. I've been told they don't really add much for the flavor or anything like that, but you know what? I wanted to try a binder. We're gonna start on the back side, the bone side, because we're gonna cook this meat side up. For today's cook, I am using Kinder's Bourbon Peach Rub. I've used this a couple times and I really like the flavor. It's a little sweet, and we're gonna make a smoked peaches barbecue sauce to go with this, because why not? They probably won't need sauce, but I just wanna make one. Leave me alone.
Don't be so sensitive, laddie.
Okay, up high. Probably don't need to do too much on this backside because it's membrane, but in case somebody eats it, let's give it a little flavor. As Bradley Robinson from Chud says, don't forget the sides.
And please, folks, don't forget the sides. Rookie move.
I don't want to be a rookie. Okay. We season from up high, so we get a nice coating. And I'm going thick. This doesn't have a lot of salt in it, so you can go thick with this rub. I like that about it. There you go, nice thick coat of rub on there. Now we're gonna go stick this in the refrigerator to stay nice and cold because cold meat takes smoke better.
It's so cold.
For today's cook, I'm gonna use some charcoal pellets. I like the flavor that these give. Grab your hopper, get it nice and full, give it the dad shake. The dad shake either compacts the pellets and makes them burn better. separates the pellets and gives them lots of air and makes them burn better, or does absolutely nothing. I still do it every time. Now, make sure after you do the dad shake, if you want, if you're having a problem with your pellets lighting, just top them off a little bit so that they are like almost overflowing out of the hopper.
Right to the top.
The igniter for the pellets is at the top. If you don't have a very full hopper, you might have a problem getting your pellets to ignite. We're gonna turn this on. We are gonna turn it to the smoker setting. We're gonna turn it to 145, and we're gonna set it for an hour and 20 minutes. We're only gonna smoke these at 145 Fahrenheit or Celsius for an hour. This is to help get an extra amount of smoke flavor. It's something I've been doing lately, and it's been working really well for me. So we're gonna try it on these beef ribs.
If you say so.
Hit start, and it's gonna say IGN. That lets you know that it's igniting your pellets, and you should have smoke relatively shortly. While this is coming up to temp, it gives me a chance to tell you about Roosevelt's. Roosevelt's is a clothing company based around Teddy Roosevelt, but they have all kinds of stuff. They got Star Wars stuff, they got Disney stuff, they got 80s classic movie stuff. They have just cool items like a dinosaur playing basketball. This is one of their Kunaflex line of shirts, and I will tell you it is the most lightweight, breathable, wrinkle-free, comfortable shirt I have ever owned in, I don't even have enough fingers to keep up with fingers, in my life. I love these shirts. It is pretty much exclusively all I wear. But they also make t-shirts, hats, koozies, putter covers, aprons, a ton of stuff. Go check out RSVLTS.com and let them know that Dad sent you. I'd appreciate it. And you'll appreciate it if you get yourself one of these shirts. We're gonna wait for that to come up to temp, and I'll see you in a minute. That only took a few minutes. Time to get these onto the smoker. Now, as you can see, I got my flat top in there with the elevated rack. That is kind of my new preferred cooking method with this. It allows better airflow around the food, and I get better smoke penetration all over. Seems to be working pretty well. We're gonna let that go for about an hour before we even look at it. While that guy's smoking away, it gives us a little bit of time to prepare our brown sugar bourbon peach barbecue sauce. I don't know, that sounds really good to me. Let's try to make one. Never made one.
Oh, well, now you're just making things up.
This is a variation on my easy barbecue sauce recipe that you can find on dadgotthis.com. Don't worry, I'll throw this one up there too if it comes out good. I got 2 peaches. We're just gonna slice them in half as best as we can. I got impatient. Quick wash later of the peach, and we should be ready to get the center part of this guy out. Probably didn't pick the right tool.
Duh.
Let me go get a paring knife. And we'll just pop that guy out. We'll kind of do the same here. Peach halves. We'll do that again. Hopefully my peach doesn't go flying like it did last time. That is not in half. I think we'll be okay though. We got peaches. What we're gonna do with them? We're gonna smoke them. We're gonna smoke them while this beef is smoking for a little bit. Add a little bit of smoky flavor to our barbecue sauce. One thing I also forgot to do to the beef was to add my probe, but no problem. It's not gonna have very much temperature going in it right now anyway, so we should be able to do that right now. We're gonna go for the thickest part of the beef, not at a bone. That'll work. And these guys, we're just gonna wedge in wherever we can get them. I want the skin side up. That'll get more of the smoky flavor. I think that'll work. Boom. We'll let them smoke up a little while with this guy before we turn up the temp. Got about 50 more minutes of this slow smoke before we move on to the higher temps. Getting all set up for the barbecue sauce, and I came to check on the wood fire, and the pellets had already burned through. That was a quick burn. That was like 45 minutes. So I just reloaded it with some pellets. You hit the wood fire button, it's gonna say IGN. That should kick us up and get us a little bit more smoke for this last half hour on our slow smoke. And then we can get to making some barbecue sauce. Let's go ahead and check on our peaches. Our peaches look nice and smoky. They smell smoky. It's been almost an hour. At this point, we are gonna go ahead and kick the temperature up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius because I'm in a little bit of a rush. I got a late start. Normally I would do 225, but I'm trying to get these done in time for dinner today. Let's go ahead and check using the Ninja Pro Connect app and see where the temp of the meat is. We're at about 94 degrees. We're trying to get it up to about 167-ish before we go ahead and wrap it. All right, what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna chop these guys up. And I probably should have peeled them. I don't think the peels are gonna be very good in the, so we'll just do a quick, once again, wrong knife.
Seriously?
I'm gonna go get the right knife. These peaches could have definitely gone a little bit longer in the smoke if you wanted for like a nice, more smoky flavor. But my family doesn't like a ton of smoke. So I just wanted a light smoke on these. Probably should have peeled them maybe before I put them on. I just think the peels will give a weird texture to the barbecue sauce. I love this cutting board with its little sections. So nice. If you're interested in this cutting board and more information about cutting boards, go ahead and check out my Sonder LA cutting board video. I'll link it in the description. For our barbecue sauce, get yourself a nice wide bottom pan, put it over like a medium heat. 1/2 a stick of butter, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Let that start melting. Our peaches. Get those guys coated. 50 milliliters of bourbon. I have a brown sugar bourbon. A lighter. Stand back. Light your bourbon. That's going to burn off most of the alcohol. Just let it go until the flame stops. Might be hard to see the flame, but I can see it. Flame's pretty much gone. I got a little bit of skin in there. We don't want that. 1/2 a cup of apple cider vinegar. I like to use the unfiltered. I feel like it gives a better flavor. 3/4 of a cup of ketchup. And we're going to mix this up nice. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. That's going to add a little bit of extra smokiness and a little bit of extra color. Bring this up to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to let it simmer and soften for probably 20, 25 minutes. That'll reduce it, soften the peaches, and get it ready for blending. Watch your temps. Don't let it get too high, and don't get distracted and walk away because it's going to burn. Thankfully, I think this is going to be salvageable. Just add a nice little char to the barbecue sauce. My blender doesn't want to work outside. I'm going to go blend this up inside. It's just blending. You guys know what blending's like. Barbecue sauce blended up just fine inside. I don't know why my outlet didn't want to work. Maybe I blew a GFI or something. But let's go ahead and check on our pellets. We're good. We're still smoking. Oh, man. That looks great. Look at the crust on that. Oh, let's check our temp in the wood fire. We're at 136. Still got a ways to go. I got 3 hours to dinner. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. We're gonna go up to 265. You know what? Let's go to 275. I normally would not cook these this hot and fast, but I'd like to have dinner tonight. Well, that worked. We are up at 172. It is time to wrap. No, wait, wrong kind of wrap. White cotton heat resistant gloves and my grill gloves, and I can pick this sucker up. Oh, we got pullback. This looks fantastic. This is some smoky beef tallow that I made that I made during one of my cooks. And we're just gonna add a little bit of that there. We're gonna pull this out so we can put it back in after. I'm gonna grab this guy back again, try to get it in there like that. At this point, you don't need to use the Ninja Woodfire. If you don't have to, you could cook this in an oven, anywhere. We're just gonna stick it in here till we get tender. We're gonna be going for probe tender, which is where you stick a probe into it and it gets little to no resistance, almost like sticking it into a jar of creamy peanut butter. That could take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't know. The meat temperature is probably gonna be in the 200 to 205 range. Could go all the way up to 215 to get to probe tender. You're not really caring as much about the temp of the meat, but the feel of the probe going into the meat. We'll see in a little bit when this sucker is ready to get rested. At this point, we can also kick the temperature up a little. I'm gonna go to 300. You're also not worried about the wood fire. No smoke's getting in through that tin foil. That's nice and tender. It is many hours later. Time to check out how these ribs came out. I know a lot of times people say you don't get a very good bark on the Ninja Woodfire. This is a pretty nice bark. Oh no. That is a nice looking beef rib. I gotta try to slice a little bit of this guy off here. We're just gonna do a little bit right from the center here. Ooh. I think it's tender. Cheers. That is delicious. That is fatty. That is salty. It's got that sweetness from the peach bourbon in there. It could actually probably use a little bit of extra salt, but that's okay. You can always finish salt at the end. Let's try it with our peach bourbon barbecue sauce. Oh wow, that kicks it up a notch. I really like that. That is a good combo. Man, first time ever doing these. I am really proud with how these came out. I want to give a big thank you to Roosevelt's for sponsoring this video and this channel. If you want to pick up any kind of sweet Roosevelt's gear, go to RSVLTS.com. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. And also, try to make these ribs. You will not be disappointed with these. That peach bourbon barbecue sauce is pretty good too. Ooh, I cursed.
Hey, watch your mouth.
Sorry about that. As far as the question of whether you can cook fantastic beef dino ribs in the Ninja Woodfire grill, that's a big heck yeah. Please, if you are enjoying this content, do the likey, subscribe stuff, leave a comment. I answer just about every comment in my comment section. And if you really want to support this channel, consider becoming a member. There's all kinds of benefits. Information's down in the description. Information on this shirt, information on Roosevelt's, information on the ribs, everything. The full recipe for the barbecue sauce, the ribs, everything, times, will all be linked down in the description, or it'll be a link to dadgotthis.com where this recipe is going to be posted. With all that out of the way, there's only one question left to answer. What kind of dinosaur makes a good policeman? A triceracop. Yeah, pretty bad. Dad may tell horrible dinosaur dad jokes, cook fantastic dinosaur ribs, wear amazing dinosaur shirts from Roosevelt's. But one thing Dad will never do is an outro. So that's it. Bye.
This episode of Dad Got This was brought to you by our producers. Thank you very much.